So I would say that good sleep, what is good sleep? Good sleep for me is about 4 macros. I've sort of thought about this and come up with this principle that there are 4 macros of good sleep. And you can remember it by the acronym QQRT: quantity, quality, regularity, timing. And we've really covered all of them. Quantity, 7 to 9 hours. Quality is, are you sleeping consistently, or is your sleep littered with all of these awakenings at night? So you're sort of waking up. That's poor quality. And the way that we measure that is efficiency. You can see it in your sleep trackers.
Yeah.
Of the time that you're in bed, what % of that time
What's a good
is
efficiency?
sleep? 85% or above. Once you drop below that, we'd like to correct it. So quantity, quality, regularity, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. Regularity carries as, if not more predictive power over your all-cause mortality than quantity does.
That's amazing.
That's a recent finding. And literally, a paper came out today that replicated that finding of about 2 years ago. The final one is timing. And you think, well, QQRT, quantity, quality, regularity. Timing sounds like regularity.
Yeah.
Timing is not. Timing is your chronotype. So if you are an evening type, sleep as best you can with your lifestyle. And I know that I'm talking about the ideal world, and no one lives in that. We all live in the real world.
Yeah.
So as best you can, try to sleep closer to your natural chronotype. Because if you sleep against your chronotype, sleeping out of harmony with your biology, when you fight biology, you normally lose.
Yeah.
And the way you know you've lost is disease and sickness. And we see that in night owls who are forced to sleep like morning larks. So that's why, to me, I think I would come on to say, firstly, give yourself the right opportunity to sleep. Get regular. Understand your chronotype, realize it's not your fault and it's not your choice. Try to get good with your chronotype as best you can. And then finally, just make sure that the quality of your sleep, the consistency is good. If the quality is not good, you're waking up a lot. Yeah. Let's drill down into that for recommendations. Think about your alcohol and caffeine. Those are probably the 2 lowest hanging fruit that will cause poor quality of sleep.
I mean, the Oura Ring is like definitely a metronome for like if I drink something, I'm like, God.
Devastation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, wow.
There is a blast radius that is non-trivial, and
not.
it is so
the Oura Ring has
thumb-like.
kind of caused alcohol consumption to go down.
Yeah, and I wonder if they've changed alcohol sales. I don't know among their users. That would be an interesting study. But I would say that the 2 other.
I tell you, I'm sure it has, because everybody who I know has an Oura Ring tells me they notice the same thing, and it's
changed their amount of alcohol
100%.
intake. Now, you can complain about devices or subscription fees or whatever about all of these different gadgets all you like, but if that's the only thing that they've done in society, I think that your liver is going to be outside of your body next day and thanking you to the high heavens for saying thank you for not drinking as much. So
alcohol,
caffeine. I would say be mindful of light. We are a dark, deprived society in this modern era, and we get junk light at night. And light will stamp the brakes on melatonin, which is a natural hormone that times our sleep. And it will fool your brain into thinking, I'm not tired. Even though there's all of that tiredness built up inside of you, you're overhead lighting stimulated. And so your brain gets thoroughly confused. We don't have strong enough daylight during the day to ramp us up and make us awake. So we're sleepy during the day. And we don't have enough darkness at night to make us sleepy. So we're awake at night. I would say recommendation in the last hour before bed, switch off half the lights in your home. Just do me the experiment for the next 10 days. Try it. If it doesn't feel any different, great.
But does it matter if you in your bedroom you have incandescent lights? Is that a problem, or should you change those red light bulbs? Or
you can go for red light bulbs, but just keep it. You don't have to worry about that fancy stuff.
The dimmer matters?
Just dimness. Try to get below about 10 lux. And you can just on your phone, go to the App Store, download a lux meter, Lux.
Oh.
And then just sit in your bed and look to say, or walk around your house. I do this. This is how
I'm
much of a sleep
I'm
nerd
buying
I
a new
do.
house in Austin, and I'm literally putting in dimmer lights because there's no dimmers in the house. I'm like, it's like $1,000 to put all these.
No, but I mean, imagine spending that to guarantee sleep for the next years.
Yeah.
It's a small cost to pay.
For sure.
So I would say grab a lux meter if you want to be nerdy about it, but just get dim light. Don't have to be too nerdy. Just turn down half the lights in your house. Next thing for timing, by the way, I should go back to it.
But the light thing, did you buy this whole red light thing? And
the data there is quite
light.
strong on melatonin. However, in terms of the blue light from our devices being the catastrophic force on sleep decline that we used to think it was, is probably not true.
So if you're on your phone at night or if you're on your computer,
blue light is not the villain that we thought.
So you shouldn't be buying those blue blocker glasses or...
There's been a great, there's been a guy in Australia, almost pioneered this, Michael Gradazar. He started to get skeptical of this whole blue light thing. And there's been a couple of powerful studies that, yes, it definitely blocks your melatonin. Yes, it can disrupt your sleep. But what he demonstrated is that it's not the blue light itself. It's that these devices that we use that emit blue light.
That's what we're reading on them.
are activating. They are attention capture devices. They are hugely activating. And their sole purpose now is to capture your attention economy. And they do it ruthlessly well.
and they stimulate dopamine.
And they stimulate dopamine.
Is the
they
awake,
switch on your cortex. And that results in this thing that we call sleep procrastination, where you know that you're tired, but then you think, oh gosh, I'll just look at Facebook one last time. Oh, I'll just check X one more time. And oh, I should have ordered that thing from Amazon. Let me just go and do that. And you look up and it's 40 minutes later. And what he's really arguing, and I think the data is compelling now, is that you just need to try to do a digital detox, not for the blue light, but for the demonstrable capturing of your brain's cortical activation. That's the challenge.
I've used the Kindle, and I think that when you do the Kindle, it's got the black thing. And
I would suggest that for people, there are two rules of thumb. If you can, desaturate your phone to black and white. There are some apps that will do it. Big difference. The second is, if you have to use your phone in the bedroom, and I know that genie is out the bottle, no matter what I say, it's not going back in anytime soon. The rule of thumb from another friend of mine, Michael Gradner, said the following: if you have to take your phone into the bedroom, you can only use it standing up. And after about 7 or 8 minutes, you're standing there and you think, I'm just going to sit down. And at that point, sorry, phone goes away. You're done. That's it.
I'll tell my wife
it's
that.
away.
She's not going to like that
you're
at
done.
all.
I would say, just coming on to some other points of suggestion.
Yeah.
Wind down routine. We all fail to recognize that sleep is not like a light switch, and it shouldn't be that way. Sleep is much more like landing a plane. It takes time to come down onto the sort of the terra firma of good sleep at night. Yeah. And so you
can't be answering emails
and then why would you expect that? It's like driving into your garage and your driveway, at still 60 miles an hour, and then slamming the brakes on and think it's going to be a good outcome. You go down the gears, and then gradually you're braking, and you come to a stop. That's sleep for you. So we obviously, when we, if you have kids, you will know that you have a bedtime routine. You figure what it is out for your child, you figure out what it is for your child, and then you stick ruthlessly to it, because if you don't, bad things happen. Why do we think that as adults? We don't also need a wind-down routine.
And what does that look like?
It can be hot baths or showers. Works very well for sleep, and we can speak about why from a thermal perspective. You can do meditation. Data on that, very strong indeed. You can do sleep stories. We read stories to our children. It turns out that sleep stories, and the reason that they've saved meditation companies like Calm and made them a unicorn billion-dollar company, which it did, the sleep stories, is because we also like to listen to stories ourselves, and I'll come back to why that is in a second.
Yeah, Cory Booker's a friend of mine, said he listens to my podcast at night to put himself to sleep. I'm like...
Well, I've heard that from I've so many people, and I deeply despise my own voice. I loathe it. But so many people have said that listening to my voice. I have a podcast, the Matt Walker podcast, shameless plug. But they actually use it as a sleep aid. And in some ways it's very devastating, like you, because
that's great.
But that's lovely for me, in truth. And so I'm actually going to start releasing an app that has sleep stories, because people just kept slamming me. But do a sleep story. I don't care what it is: hot baths, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's listening to an audiobook, whether it's yoga, whether it's light stretching, whether it's meditation. The goal is simple. Get your mind off itself. That's that is the principal reason why most people are not getting
Shut
the
down
sleep
that crazy
they need.
person in between your ears.
Correct. And sleep is like trying to remember someone's name.
Yeah.
The harder that you try, the more you force it away.
Yeah.
And when you stop trying, it comes back to you. And I can't, I mean, another trick that I recommend people use, if you don't like meditation or any of that kind of stuff, it feels like a bit woo-woo, just close your eyes and take yourself on a mental walk that you know with exquisite detail. So let's say I'm going to take the dog out for a walk. I clip him in, I open the door, I go down the steps, I take a left, go to the end of the driveway, and then sort of go through a little sort of gate there, and then we take a right, but I always look to the right because the traffic is coming far too quickly. It's in that level of granularity. What's the color of the leash that I'm using today for the dog? That's the
Distracting
level.
your mind.
And I'm
Detail.
distracting my mind. And then usually the next thing I remember is my alarm going off in the morning.
Right.
Why? Because I got my mind off itself. So have a wind down routine, I would say, is absolutely critical. It's one of the lowest hanging fruits that you can.
If you love that last video, you're going to love the next one. Check it out here.